Anna Thelda Mae Swenson was born on May 28, 1913, in Logan, Utah. Her parents were Swedish immigrants and were Mormon. English was her second language since her family spoke mostly Swedish at home. She was the eldest of 10 children. Swenson was influenced by poet Edgar Allan Poe at an early age. Some of his famous works were The Raven, The Castle of Amontillado, Telltale Heart, and Annabel Lee. As a young girl, she kept journals where she wrote poems in multiple genres. Swenson attended Utah State University in her hometown in Logan. She received a bachelor's degree in 1934. After graduating, she spent another year in Utah as a reporter. She then got relocated to New York City in 1935. In New York, Swenson held various positions. She was a stenographer, a ghostwriter, a secretary, and a manuscript reader. She still wrote and published her poetry during her free time. She then became a manuscript reader at New Directions Press in 1959. In 1966, Swenson decided to devote herself to her own writing and left New Directions Press. She then moved to Seacliff, New York in 1967. There, she served as a poet in residence during the late 60s and early 70s at several different universities and Canada. Swenson's honors included fellowships from foundations like Guggenheim, Ford, Rockefeller, and MacArthur. She also received the Shelley Memorial Award, the Boligan Prize, and an award in literature from the National Institute of Arts and Letters. Other prizes include a Distinguished Service Gold Medal in 1967 from Utah State University. She also received an Honorary Doctor of Letters in 1987 and served as Chancellor from the Academy of American Poets from 1980 till her death in 1989. Swenson wrote the poem Women in 1978. The poem's sarcastic and ironic tone describes how women are treated like objects for the satisfaction of men. The shape of the poem has a strong overall message. The placement of the words and the illusion of them swaying make up the body of a woman. The rhythm in Swenson's words in her poem suggests the perceived value of a woman are their physical features. The poem also raises the question about a woman's ability to overcome social injustices to a successful and independent individual. In her poem, Swenson uses the irony of women as being old-fashioned, and in line 6 of her poem, describing them as the gladdest things in the toy room. She also mentions a rocking horse to symbolize the oppression of women during her time period. The pedestal mentioned in the poem goes with the rocking horse symbolism. Swenson is comparing a woman to a pedestal. Because a pedestal is used for both adoration and esteem, a woman is adored but then is burdened and used. In the 3 final lines of her poem, Swenson's words become bitter. Her message is that women are tired of waiting to be given their freedom and will no longer tolerate being at the whims of men's desires. They do not want to be considered pedestals anymore. There is no solid proof in the text that the poem's persona is feminine, but the reader can assume it is by the author's gender, sexual orientation, and the time period the poem was written. There is not much known on Swenson's personal life, but it is known that she was a homosexual. In the late 60s and early 70s, the women's liberation movement was going on while Swenson was writing her poem Women. Women were being treated unfairly in workplaces and were denied basic rights. The movement made those changes possible through its scores in politics and radical ways of thinking. During the movement, some women made a freedom trash can. They filled the trash can with objects like bras, girdles, hair curlers, heels, and magazines like Cosmopolitan and Playboy. Anything that represented a woman trapped at home would be thrown in. In 1968, 100 women from the movement protested the Miss America beauty pageant, especially the swimsuit contest. They believed it promoted physical attractiveness and charm as the primary measures of a woman's worth. During her adult life, Mae Swenson was an active feminist. She believed there was more to a woman than just her physical features. Her poem Women describes her take on feminism and that women have the potential to do anything. Swenson also wrote 3 collections of poems for younger readers. She wrote Poems to Solve in 1966, More Poems to Solve in 1967, and Spell Coloring Book in 1976. She also wrote a one-act play titled The Floor. 4 months before her death, Swenson said, "The best poetry has its roots, subconscious to a great degree. Youth naivety, reliance on instinct, more than learning a method, a sense of freedom and play. Even trust in randomness is necessary to the making of a great poem." Swenson died on December 4th, 1989 in Ocean View, Delaware. She is buried in her hometown in Logan, Utah. Utah State University has a room dedicated to Swenson in the English department. There is also the Mae Swenson Award sponsored by the university.